The gushing crimson tide made the alien rethink his life choices. Lieutenant Sarah Connors surveyed the wreckage of the Gorvax armada, annihilated by humanity's relentless spirit. The Gorvax warlords, who crushed civilizations without mercy, now rendered inert debris floating in the void's cold embrace. Connors reflected on the failed ambush against her ship Dauntless, a trap that should have ended in a bloodbath. Instead, humanity turned the tables in spectacular fashion. Connors' cunning gambit had inverted the hunter into hapless prey. Her decisive victory over the legendary warriors became a symbol across the galaxy. Whispers multiplied of mankind as apex predators without equal. Connors knew the mantle of galactic apex brought grave trials. Rival empires observed humanity's every move with dread and rapacious envy. But mankind was forged in the crucible of space, and would never surrender. Connors gazed at the wreckage of the once feared enemy fleet. Humanity would defend its territory to the last breath, no matter the cost, and the heavens wept for those who doubted humanity's resolve. Admiral Jax Varian surveyed the starscape, calculating eyes dwarfing the majesty of space. The galaxy tumbled beyond reinforced glass, but his penetrating inwards gaze was caught like lightning, thoughts fermenting strategies. "Gorvax debris field?" he said, voice measured yet belying the machinations within. "Contained, Admiral." "Salvage underway," an officer responded. "No survivors." Jax nodded, knowing word of their triumph would soon ripple through the stars, shockwaves of awe and dread. The ever-strategic Varian plotted to leverage this victory into an undisputed declaration of human supremacy. An alert chirped, a distress signal patched directly through. Illyria. "Illyria?" Varian mused, words quiet yet intense. "The swarm infestation. Our stage is set." "Sir?" a confused lieutenant queried. "A demonstration," Varian declared, turning to address the crew. "We've bloodied the Gorvax, shown our strength against primal threats. Now we'll break the existential swarm on Illyria. No doubts left of humanity's dominance." He keyed a secure channel to the Dauntless as the crew hung on his rallying words. Lieutenant Sarah Connors appeared, still riding the high of her last maneuver. The floating debris behind a testament to her daredevil tactics. "Lieutenant," Varian greeted. "The Dauntless was spectacular against the Gorvax, but a new threat looms." He forwarded the Illyrian distress call, holograms of the swarm's ruination stealing Sarah's expression. "Illyria, a beacon now choking on the swarm's plague," Varian pressed on, watching determination set like durasteel in Sarah's eyes. "You will liberate that world. Lead the charge against this infestation." Sarah nodded, tactical computations already underway. "We're ready, Admiral," she confirmed. "I know," Varian said. "Your creativity, your crew's ferocity, our wild card against brute force. Now we show the galaxy humanity's willingness to brave hell itself for life." Sarah's face hardened with purpose. "The swarm will learn facing humanity was a mistake. We'll clear Illyria, sir. The galaxy will watch." Varian nodded sharply, comrades in a shared crusade. "Your humanity's sword, Lieutenant. Sharpen it well. Dismissed." The screen blinked off. Admiral Varian turned back to the endless stars, a watchful guardian as the Dauntless prepared to spearhead humanity's relentless galactic odyssey. The alarms began flashing red as Illyria appeared on the view screen. Lieutenant Sarah Connors stared ahead, her expression grim. The planet's once glittering metropolises now lay in smoldering ruins, consumed by the ravenous swarm. The crew exchanged uneasy looks in the briefing room. The tension hung thick in the air. They all knew the odds were stacked against them. But Sarah's steely resolve never wavered. She addressed her battle-hardened team. "Our ancestors crossed oceans with only the stars to guide them. Now we must be just as bold." Her gaze was fiery with conviction. "We will take back Illyria through courage and cunning, not brute force." The plan was daring. Shielded pods would drop an elite strike force onto the ravaged surface. Handpicked for their skill and intellect, these soldiers would link up with Illyrian resistance fighters. Together, they would surgically strike the swarm's weak points, a strategy no other species dared attempt. The pods hurtled down. metallic blooms unfolding to reveal humanity's answer to the swarm's onslaught. The soldiers moved with precision, their suits protecting them from the corrosive enemy. Sergeant Torres connected with a ragged band of Illyrian survivors. Through his translator, he rallied them for the coming counterattack. Together, we'll strike at the heart of this beast. The combined human-Illyrian assaults relentlessly targeted the swarm's nodes, turning its biological advantages against it through human ingenuity. On the Dauntless, Sarah oversaw the brutal orbital strikes, ready to order reinforcements for her embattled soldiers. The burden of command weighed heavily, but her voice remained steady amidst the chaos. Casualties mounted as the campaign dragged on. Friends were lost, but Sarah urged them forward. We adapt, we overcome, we never yield. On Illyria's surface, the decisive battle loomed. Sarah watched the screens intently as exhaustion and stress lined the faces of her crew. Victory remained uncertain, but their unrelenting human spirit shone through. This was their stand, their refusal to surrender. They were humanity, and they would prevail. The scorched Illyrian earth crunched beneath Commander Reed's boots as he led his squad through the gnarled wasteland. The stench of rot permeated the air, the calling card of the swarm's infestation. Reed scanned the devastation, honed by battlefields past, searching for the key to victory, the Elysian needlegrass. A humble plant, yet catastrophic to the invaders if introduced properly. There, he muttered, spotting the bioluminescent stalks nestled in rubble, matching images from his xenobiology studies. Private Hernandez wiped away grime. We found it, sir. Reed knelt, armored fingers tracing the delicate fronds. Let's get to work. His communicator buzzed. Lieutenant Connors. Status? We've located the target. Harvesting now. Swiftly, Commander. Time runs short. Reed nodded. Unspoken resolve carried through his voice. Illyrian survivors emerged from the shadows, faces etched with the scars of occupation, but eyes aglow with humanity's undying fire. We fight for more than ourselves now, Reed said softly. Soldiers, human and Illyrian, harvested the plant for transport and weaponization. The swarm descended, drawn by the assault on their domain. Skittering, gnashing nightmares closed in. We don't lose to these bastards today, Reed roared over the chaos. Cover the collectors! Lasers whined, explosives thundered. The dance of battle flowed between allies, human guidance shaping Illyrian grit into a force multiplied. Once you've got enough, disperse it among them. Disrupt their spawn points, Reed ordered, amidst the symphony of war. It was grisly work, shoving the needlegrass into pulsing biomass up close, stemming the swelling tide through Earth's science and Illyria's sacrifice. The fog of war could not hide the Illyrians' awe at humanity's commitment, nor could it mute Reed's rallying cries, bolstering the ranks as retaliation came. The swarm reformed, directing primal rage at the insurgents, but greater ferocity met steely human defiance. We've pissed them off! Now we make them regret it! Reed bellowed, firing with mechanical accuracy towards the brooding hive. As hope wavered, the Dauntless glinted above, a silent promise to rain heavenly fire should her children falter. In the Maelstrom's furnace, humanity's metal shone. Alongside interstellar kin, their shared stand etched into galactic archives. This was their defiant hour, a testament to cooperation, imbued with the raw and gritty, humanity, fuck yeah spirit that bound them all in fraternity. The alarm screamed as the Dauntless shuddered under another relentless barrage. Lieutenant Sarah Connors stood firm amidst the chaos on the bridge, focused only on directing her crew and ship through the onslaught. With the swarm surrounding them, she barked maneuvers, fingers dancing across controls. The ship bucked and groaned, straining against the damage. In engineering, Chief O'Reilly coaxed power to weakening systems. Around him, engineers scrambled, embodying humanity's grit, keeping the old girl fighting. In the makeshift medbay, the medics worked with solemn determination. Each life saved a silent promise. On the gun deck, the crew roared with their cannons, their fury at the swarm etched into every blistering plasma blast. On Illyria's charred surface, Jacob Reed led his team in a last stand. Rifle leveled at the encroaching swarm, he focused only on guarding his surrounded squad. The Illyrians stood with them, bonded by human tenacity. Their combined fire held the line against the onslaught. In a static-filled calm, Jacob and Sarah shared their resolve. Both knew this battle would define humanity's spirit for generations. Though light years apart, their fates were intertwined. The brief calm ended and the chaos resumed. Sarah guided her wounded ship through the storms of battle. Jacob's team held strong, though surrounded by horrors. Their refusal to yield, even on the brink of defeat, laid humanity's essence bare, unrelenting until the end. In this crucible, the swarm faced the human will burning bright. While the swarm thought itself the apex predator, humanity proved once more that when pushed to the brink, their determination would reign supreme. The battle raged, chaos closing around the Dauntless and her squadron. The relentless swarm threatened to engulf them. Lieutenant Sarah Connors stood firm amidst the maelstrom, fixated on the scene. Failure reports flickered, but she held fast. A sliver of hope kept them alive. Suddenly, sleek ships appeared, bearing insignias of the Valerian Confederacy. Their arrival was a shockwave. Connors' heart pounded as a melodic voice filled the comms. "Lieutenant Connors, this is Admiral Calith. We stand with humanity." Astonished murmurs rippled through the crew. Sarah swallowed the swell of emotion. "Your aid is welcomed," she replied. "Together we'll push them back." The Valerians moved with eerie grace, disrupting the swarm's signals. The creatures thrashed, their hive mind fractured. On the bridge, Sarah watched the Valerians dominate the confused swarm. A bold plan emerged. "Revise strategy," she commanded. "Sync with the Valerians. Punch through their ranks." Below, Sergeant Torres pointed skyward. "Allies have come, harbingers of victory. We're not alone." The troops roared, clasping Illyrian comrades. The joint fleet herded the swarm into kill zones with electronic precision. The once unified foe devolved into frenzied beasts. Sacrifice came for both sides as ships exploded. Connors observed the mounting cost, each order a tribute to the fallen. "For those lost, we honor you with triumph," she transmitted. "Focus fire on my mark, for humanity and allies." The allies crushed the swarm until it retreated, beaten. Sarah exhaled, the victory resonating in her bones. This battle etched a galactic message. Humanity emerged unyielding, with new allies. Gazing into infinity's stars, thoughts adrift, Sarah understood. They proved humanity's strength in bonds. Leaders capable of forging defiant hope. As joint fleets tended their dead, Sarah knew the price was steep. But their stand was clear. Humanity and allies would not cower. Together they stood apex. The Dauntless hung suspended among a sea of stars, distant galaxies glittering in full sprawl from the breadth of the viewing deck. In the wake of the swarm's crushing defeat, the vast guts of the ship, those cavernous hangars once filled with war machines, had been repurposed for politics. A frenzy of activity was underway, alien dignitaries of every shape and species flocking in droves, their finery shimmering in the light. Lieutenant Sarah Connors stood tall amongst them, the stern decorations and medals of her uniform now serving more symbolic purpose. No longer an iron servant of war, she was an icon of humanity's ascendance. Strong, beautiful, and cunning as hell. The envoys approached on cautious feet, their posture guarded yet intrigued. They had witnessed humanity's savagery on the battlefield firsthand. Now they witnessed something more. Discipline, resilience, the makings of an empire. When Sarah spoke, her voice cut clear. "We come not to conquer but to guide, to build something greater than ourselves." Nods and murmurs greeted her words. Treaties were signed, one after the next. Each stroke of the pen drew humanity closer to the heart of power, closer to dominion. Yet even as alliances took shape, there were whispers in the dark. Lingering glances from envoys with hidden motives. The politics had changed, but the game remained the same. Sarah's combat intuition hadn't dulled. She noticed the shifts in tone, the subtle hints of deception. A ping on her datapad brought proof. Something rotten had taken root. A plot to remove her and Commander Reed from power. Permanently. She kept her face an impassive mask, relaying orders to her security team through an encrypted channel. Within moments, the Dauntless was on high alert, plainclothes guards blending into the crowds, scanning for treachery. Still, Sarah didn't falter, moving through the room with easy confidence, sealing treaty after treaty, each one a silent middle finger to whoever had marked her for death. Later, alone in her quarters, she conferred with Reed. His craggy features were hardened like stone. They both knew the score. As humanity rose, jealousies would arise. New enemies would emerge from the shadows now that the swarm had been put down. "Doesn't change a damn thing," Reed said. "We watch each other's backs. Show whoever it is they've pissed off the wrong species." Sarah's response was cold and simple. "Too right." They returned to work, and the days melted on, pacts and plots happening concurrently, each dependent on the other. Sarah in the halls of power by day, moving pieces by night to protect the fragile balance. This was the reality of the Terran Dominion now, a delicate dance between influence and intrigue, vision and vigilance. As Sarah carved humanity's name into the stars, there were daggers aimed at her back, but she would be damned if she let them connect. On the Dauntless, under those glittering galaxies, the truth was clear. Humanity had arrived as apex predators, wise, cunning, and unbreakable. Let the envoys come at the gates with their gifts and their schemes. Humanity would take it all in stride. The steel canopy of the central chamber loomed overhead as Jacob Reed settled into his seat. Here he was, among the greatest minds in the galaxy, scientists, tacticians, all united as the concord of intellect. Anticipation charged the air, accented by a symphony of alien tongues. Curiosity, awe, apprehension, Reed read the crowd, gauging allies and adversaries alike. This was no battlefield, yet wars could be won here on a single idea. With a flourish, Dr. Zelthrax directed the proceedings, mandibles clacking in perfect cadence. "Esteemed colleagues, we meet in victory's shadow, bound to safeguard the future. Commander Reed brings humanity's tactical prowess, tipping destiny's scales before." All eyes turned to Reed as he stood, calm composure belying his soldier's mettle. Survival demanded physical might and intellectual dexterity to reach the stars. My people wield both sword and shield. The weeks blurred into intense sessions, parsing data for patterns and plans, until an anomaly slipped through the mesh, flickering on Reed's console. Incomplete, but the implications were clear. An ominous signal from beyond known space, capable of darkening suns. "Worse than the swarm," Reed said, interrupting the session. The room stilled, stars themselves pausing to eavesdrop. Reed opened a channel to the Dauntless in feverish urgency. "Sarah, we have a situation." Lieutenant Sarah Connors, once warrior now diplomat, met his eyes. "Report, Commander." He outlined the discovery in stark brevity. Sarah nodded. "We'll rally allies. Preparations begin now." Their understanding was implicit. The Dauntless became a hive, arming, reinforcing, transmitting calls to allied reaches. A clarion call, prelude to their stand against the encroaching darkness. Reed returned to the Concorde, grim determination encasing him. Together they focused on piercing the veil, drawing on reserves of grit infinite as the stars. Above, the chamber hummed with life, testament to their resolve. Lights dimmed, the galaxy held its breath, and as one they waited for the storm approaching from the cosmic unknown. The lights of the war room sharpened and shadowed Lieutenant Sarah Connor's face as she raised her chin in defiance to the looming projections that revealed the spectral threat. Eerie undulations distorted the view of space on the screen, the unknown ghostly whisper of the Shade's approach. "Mobilize the fleet. Mobilize the fighters. Call every ally we have." Sarah's voice pierced the silence, steel-edged and stern as she addressed the gaunt officers around her. They nodded, faces grim and drawn from the strain of war. "We've outmaneuvered the Gorvax, crushed the swarm, but this," she gestured to the distorted images flashing on screen, "this Shade devours stars. This will make legends of us all, or erase us." Channels lit up as her fervent words dispatched messages across the galaxy. Allies far and wide rallied swiftly to her reputation and iron will, fleets converging in a massive stand against the Shade. Light years away, Jacob Reed studied aberrant spectral signatures on a remote, austere world. Around him, the greatest intellects of the conquered of intellects frowned and murmured in perplexity. Again, from the top, Jacob sliced through the chatter, voice sharp. There's a weakness here. Find the pattern that cracks this beast open. In time, their efforts bore fruit. Revolutionary weapons took shape, dark energy and warped gravity and disruptive radiation. Humanity's genius combined with shared knowledge, weapons to twist reality itself. At the edge of Dominion space, the bulwark grew piece by massive piece under Sarah's watch. Scaffold by scaffold, shield by cannon, the pinnacle of human and alien tech combined into a net, a wall cast across the stars. In the vastness, firefly lights danced as teams labored, bolts and steel fused into a monumental act of defiance. Word spread, stirring hearts across allied worlds. She did it. They did it, echoed in countless tongues, voices heavy with awe. When the Shade finally bled from the abyss, a vile mass against the starfields, the bulwark ignited to life. Sarah surveyed from the dauntless command. Signal the fleet. Defensive protocols. Brace for contact. Confirmations echoed, a harmony of defiance. Admirals stood, united in her tactics. The initial impact was a cacophony of primal light and sound. Beams sizzled, shields flared and dimmed, cannons boomed. Chitinous hulls cracked open to the endless dark. Through it all, Sarah's voice soothed from the eye of the maelstrom, adjusting strategies, conducting the ebb and flow of battle. The Shade was endless, relentless, an abyssal tide. But the bulwark held, ships sliding into place, each loss buying time for a greater blow. As debris cleared and shadows carved Sarah's face, the message was clear. This battle was for survival itself, humanity's will versus the hungry dark. Here at Oblivion's edge, they proved their defiance was as infinite as the galaxy they called home. The battle against the Oblivion Shade engulfed the stars. Worlds hung in the balance, as Lieutenant Sarah Connors commanded the Allied Armada. Her ship dauntless, carved through the darkness, guns thundering. Delta formation! Sarah's orders turned chaos into strategy. She was a conductor of war's symphony, guiding squadrons into devastating offensives. Human tenacity and Valerian elegance transformed into tactical brilliance. Where others saw anarchy, Sarah envisioned pathways to victory. Lessons forged in fire guided her unorthodox maneuvers. Light years away, in hallowed halls, Jacob Reed's words built armaments. Maverick scientists turned theory into munitions at his direction. He tweaked algorithms until physics split open, spawning ingenious weapons to turn the tide. When ready, he hurtled these deadly riddles of science to the fleets. The Armada adapted, hope rekindled. The Shade recoiled as human ingenuity overcame its defenses. Capital ships found their second wind. In the anarchy, Sarah discerned the Shade's fatal flaw, a breach in its fortress. She seized the moment, unveiling its core. "This is our moment!" Sarah's voice trembled, yet burned with purpose. "Together, we end this shadow's reign." Fighters surged forth, cannons ablaze. The tapestry of Allied ships, once frayed, now wove tight with determination. They converged on the exposed enemy. Energy rippled and roared, beams sliced the void. Warheads burrowed within, igniting the Shade's heart. The enemy crumbled, dissolved into the ether. A collective sigh of relief resonated in every hull and heart. To those we've lost, we remember. To the peace we've won, we dedicate our future, Sarah said, bittersweet and strong. Her crew gathered close, their eyes mirroring the dawns they secured. Sarah and Jacob exchanged glances, pillars of the legend carved. Humanity, indomitable apex predators. Celebrations echoed across freed worlds, yet peace was as fragile as it was precious. The stars looked down upon their hard-earned victory, and it was the human heart, unwavering in unity and ferocity, that shone brightest.